Hello, everybody. This was another vacation I went on last year in the summer. It was in Minnesota. There was a lot of stuff. The first place we went to was a zoo, and this little duck right here just came waddling out because I'm assuming people just feed it and it just lives in the little marsh ecosystem they have there. Here's a video of that little thing. There were a lot more animals at the zoo, but the next thing we saw were wolves. As you can see right here, there's one out there peeing, I'm assuming. I also got videos of them. The next place I visited was this Fergus Falls State Hospital. I don't know if it was a hospital or an asylum or what, but all I know is it was shut down and abandoned. But eventually they ended up boarding up the place because people were just breaking into it like crazy, which I could see why. It's huge. They, like, I'm assuming screwed in wooden boards to block entrances and stuff. But this place was a really cool thing to see. We had to walk quite a bit though, which was it was massive. You'd have to be there in person to see how big it was, but it was insane to see all this old architecture. There's some pretty cool spots on it. Get to those here eventually, but yeah, there's a huge parking lot. I'm pretty sure that they do music festivals there because there's that camper there, and there was a stage there too. I don't know if I have that in one of the pictures. You could get charged for trespassing, obviously, if you broke into the building. There was a cutout of some guy. I can't remember what he was called, but I saw it at the street fair we went to. You'll see that later on, some of the stuff about that. But yeah, it was like some car salesman or something. I can't remember what he was, but just look how nice that is. This place was just huge, and that I think was for rehabilitation. That building there. Can't remember exactly, but this place was in Fergus Falls. Crazy. I think this is it now. That's just some graffiti. Yeah, I can't remember what that said, but there's pentagram star there. And that I don't remember if that was a seesaw or what that was, but that's the entrance to that little rehabilitation area. Of course, busted through the window. Vandals, guys, this is crazy. It's more around to the entrance where we started at, I think. Or at least like halfway back. This place was just huge, like I said 5 times now, probably. It's just such cool structures to it. Like, just look at that stuff. I mean, they had some stuff they obviously added later on because this building is old. And somebody tried to bust into this, get into the, I'm assuming, basement. Yeah, there's more graffiti all over the place. Like, why would they do that? Just why? I'm sure they just come at night and just spray painted it on. This is that car salesman I was talking about. Somebody broke in there with that and stuck him in a window. It was so weird. And I had no idea who it even was until that street fair later on. And that part, the tan red one, that was, I'm assuming, a later edition. I don't know if that was just always there. No clue. I don't know the history of this, but look how nice that is. This is just insane. That was by far the best looking part of the whole building. Then, yep, little plaque there. And then this is the best picture I got of it. Look at that. Ah! My phone takes such good pictures. Yep, that's just us finishing it off and heading out. Just a little side note, another thing we saw was this wood chipper here. It was in Fargo, North Dakota. Same with that zoo at the beginning of this video, but this wood chipper was used in the movie Fargo, apparently. It was a cool little thing to see on the way to Minnesota. After visiting that giant hospital, we went to the hotel. This is the smallest hotel I've probably ever been in. That tiny bathroom, then that was our tiny little bedroom. And it was not cheap because we were in Minneapolis, Minnesota, a big city. That's all we could get for the money we paid for that hotel room. One thing I do have to add is they had some of the best hotel breakfast I've ever had, at least when it came to their donut holes. Those things were amazing, especially when you dipped them in coffee. Oh, best I've ever had. The next place we went to was the Mall of America the next day. And we got up somewhat early and got there before the mall even opened, which was a smart idea because it became packed later on. But there's Pope Leo cards, and I got it anyway for one of my friends, just for a joke, because his mom's was like big into Catholicism and stuff like that. But I ended up getting 2 of them for the price of 1 because the machine, nobody ever got those cards yet, so it just dropped 2 of them for me, which was amazing. Pretty much the entire time I was there, I had just a irrational fear of heights. And there were like 4 floors to that mall, and we started on like the second or third floor, which was just awful. It was just pretty much me avoiding the ledges and edges of stuff. I did not go on any of the escalators that were just straight nothing to the sides of them because it was awful. But did go into an elevator eventually, which was still a little nerve-wracking, but other than that, it was pretty good. And I'll just show you all the rest of the stuff we did there while I was freaking out over half the time. We got some food to eat there. There's a little place called the World of Macarons, I think. The flavors I got were not that great, but my brothers apparently were good. I was just bland, nothing. Then we went to some little Japanese themed shop, and they had these anime statues. You got Ace, Zoro, whoever that basketball guy is. You had Luffy and Ultra Instinct Goku. And then there was one of Boa Hancock, and I'm like, do I really want to take a picture of this with people walking by me? They'll think I'm a weirdo. So I did not take a picture of that one. And then we saw these NFL football helmets from the second floor because Minneapolis, I think, had the Super Bowl there one year. And then there was a thing on the wall that these people submitted. It was their pictures, and it made some image. I can't remember if it was like a football helmet or what, but that was a little cool side thing. The next spot we went to was the amusement park in the Mall of America. You can see the stuff here. We didn't go on any of the rides because I'm sure it would have been insanely expensive. Then we went to this little Lego thing. Well, I guess it wasn't little, but that was a pretty cool thing to see. They had all that stuff there. I think it was made of actual Lego. I just have no idea how that stood up there. And then we went to this M&M store. There was, look at all those flavors. My brother got like, I think it was like 2.5 pounds of M&Ms or somewhere near that. And this was at a street fair. There was a person making people's faces out of butter. And that's all his M&Ms and cookies he got at the street fair. The next place we went to was some community college in Minnesota. I can't remember where it was, but they had some little Japanese themed garden lake area. It was insane. My community college had nothing like this. Just look at this stuff. This is insane. A whole nice, peaceful garden. That's just the inside of some little shrine area. I have no idea what that building was. And then they had koi. I have no idea how their koi survives up here. If it can just survive in the cold. I'm assuming they take it out of the water because look at that. The water would freeze. I don't know if koi survives in freezing cold temperatures. Like, I don't think they would. It's just insane. Oh yeah, that was fun seeing the koi, the white ones and stuff like that. What else is there? More koi. A lot of koi, yep. I don't know why I took that many pictures. Yeah, that bridge. There was some Asian people there. Some Asian woman. She had like logs for legs. Her legs were so thick. It was just insane. She had the thickest legs I've ever seen on a woman. That thing was actually pretty cool. Then there's me with a picture. Yep, that's me. Yep. Then the next place we went to was some native place. I can't remember what it was called.
Back again to where they were. The earth Ina Maka provides all things that we need for life. And so we Dakota people are powerfully connected to this natural world in the sky.
So they had some intro video we sat through, and then this was a little spot we couldn't get to, but it was in a room you could look through a window, which I had no idea you could do that. We had to pull open this thing, which I was not expecting would have worked. That right there, you're going to get a better view of it here soon. That could pull it open and then look down into that room. They did have some cool stuff there. I found some coins and stuff, which I think somebody left there intentionally, and I ended up grabbing it, but hey. And that was some canoe. I can't remember exactly what the guy said. What he said, it's something about being a legitimate piece that was actually used by Native Americans. Then we went into some teepee little setup, and yeah, that was tiny. Fortunately, I'm a tiny human being, so I could fit in it fairly well. I gotta look at all that weird stuff I have no idea about. Unfortunately. I don't know what any of this is. I cannot remember. The top of the teepee, yep. And then the outside of the teepee right here. That thing was just tiny. Then we looked at some like fur coats and stuff. And little artifacts they had. Then once we were done with that little Native American place, because that was just a stop, we went to the Renaissance Fair. That's what I wanted to go to so bad. Just look at that place. There were so many people who were dressed up, but not really for Renaissance theme. Then those giant elephants, got to see them pooping, and I don't know about, I think I saw them poop, drinking water, and then eventually peeing, but I unfortunately did not get their peeing on video. It was like a fire hose coming out, but here's a video. So he doesn't. Then after we got to see the poop fest and all that elephant stuff, we just went on exploring more. There's so much at the place. Some pipes. Took these pictures because my friend's in the pipes. Those pipes were not cheap. Some of them were like over $100. And all the different tobaccos they had and stuff. It was just crazy. That many different flavors. Just look at that. I would never buy a pipe though. Like, that's just insane. And then yeah, there was a little turtle walking around that had a little donation box on its back. That was just weird. And then the next thing we went to was some weird dancing thing. I don't know what exactly this was, but enjoy. The next thing we went to at the Renaissance Fair was some little Danger Brother show. I can't remember what it was called, but they threw knives at that bald guy and other stuff like that. I would never let somebody throw knives at my head, but I did get some videos, so enjoy.
Go see that at the state fair. don't see it here either, but you'll smell it. You'll smell it everywhere. This is like the worst episode of Bacon Tales ever. This may take a couple of tries because these things are horribly inaccurate. Yes? If I do this without ripping his face off, you all should scream, then we start the show. If I do rip his face off, it's a win-win. I'm serious, this may take a couple of tries. Ready? Hold it. Out of the air. Good job, Daniel. Clearly, that didn't happen. All right, here we go.
Oh, jeez.
Now get it off the middle, Dave! Idiot! Wait, we're happy to do it again. Why are we still doing this? Now, come on. Huh? Pretzel on my neck, lady. Who are you texting? What does it take to entertain you? Seriously.
The next little event we went to, which I was way too late on, it was seeing strongmen try to throw, I don't know what it was, but I'm assuming a kettlebell over a bar. I was there for probably like 5-10 minutes, but none of them could do it because they were that far in and it was too difficult. I did get a little short video. Then we picked up some mugs from the Renaissance Fair. They were not cheap. It was like $80 for one, I think. That's mine, my brother's. My brother's in the back. His was cooler, but then there was a church, a cathedral in Minneapolis, and a mosque. I did go up close to it. I didn't go into it, though, because did not feel like it. And there were some sketchy people around there. Looks like we were going to get jumped if we did anything wrong, so we just decided to leave right away. Fortunately, we have a rundown, beat-up looking car and weren't dressed too fancy, so we were safe. Then there was another Catholic church. I can't remember where this was. It was in some tiny town, but that was a nice looking building. And we also went to a orchard, got some turnovers, I think it was. Those things were really good. And the last place we went to before heading home, I think, was Alexandria. Yeah, Alexandria. It was a nice small town by a lake. It was beautiful. And then it had this Viking statue. That thing was cool. That's the rest of this video, so I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.